This is our Bills ranting session. We're really mad about the Bills. They should not have lost last week. Okay, my first thing is that Dick Jauron is a big baby, and he needs to get his team charisma up because he's just like a dead person on the sideline. What do you think about that?
He needs to get his team charisma up. He needs to get out of the town. You kidding me? He needs to get canned. Get rid of him.
All right. I agree about the whole Jauron thing. It's a problem, but look at last year in the NFL. You got to look at the other teams who tried what we're thinking of doing. When they got rid of Lane Kiffin in the Raiders, when they got rid of Scott Linehan in the Rams. What happened to those two teams? They went nowhere.
So I don't want to get rid of him.
If we can't, we have to keep him for at least a year. We have to. I'm sorry, we have to. Unless unless we lose to the Browns like 80-0. I mean, then I'll think about it. But
if we look for a new coach, we have to seriously look for a new coach, not just take anybody or whoever wants the job type of deal. Like, I don't understand why we didn't. Even though Marvin Lewis isn't doing that great right now, I think he would have been a great coach in Buffalo.
And I think it starts doing pretty well this season.
Well, now they are, but he's had a couple of shaky seasons.
Every coach has a couple of shaky seasons, but he's had some good years with them.
And he's a really good coach, a really good motivator. I kind of watched him on HBO, The Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So he's really good, and I think we probably would have benefited from having him here. So if we do fire Jauron, we got to
Greg Williams,
we got to do a serious search.
All right, and then I think it starts from the top of the Bills order. The Rush Brandon, Ralph Wilson,
John Guy, Overdorf.
They need to get the coach that is going to make this team better, because that has been the problem for the past decade. We haven't had a coach. We haven't had a quarterback. If you don't have a coach or a quarterback, you're not going to be good. That's just bottom line. You can have good at everything else. It's just not going to matter.
You can have a great quarterback without a coach, and it's going to show. I mean, one thing I will One thing I will refute against you is you look at everything, and you're talking about mid-season replacement as a coach. I will go out of my way to say Buffalo's best coach ever was a mid-season replacement. Marv Levy.
He was mid-season replacement?
Oh yeah, back in the 80s when the Bills were going 2-14. Yeah, he took over for a lousy.
How can you predict a coach to be good?
Well, how can you do it at the end of the season?
But did they rehire
was he
him,
good?
or was he already on the team?
When he first came in, was he good?
No, they were pitiful that first year, but you know what? You have to change that direction.
Yeah, we need.
And I think now is the time. I mean.
So, but wait, Justin, what are you saying? That we're just going to sacrifice the season at this point?
At this point, it's already sacrificed.
I don't think
not this early though.
All right, we just lost to the worst team in the division.
No, but wait a minute.
Sean did not the worst team in the division.
No,
we lost 3 good teams in the beginning of the year, and we underestimated that and got killed.
I'm sorry.
Sean made the point earlier. What did you say? That Miami's played San Diego, Atlanta, and
the Colts.
The Colts, yeah, those are 3 good teams. We kind of forgot about that, and there you go.
But it didn't even look good against them.
No, they looked horrible.
They
got
looked
rain
horrible
all over
against them.
I didn't watch the whole game. I just turned it off. I'm like, this is disgusting. I can't watch this.
You know, it's funny. You remember we were talking, we were watching the third quarter together, and at one point I'm like, Justin, this is the first time I've ever won the Turner Bills game.
And I texted you, and I'm like, they're going to lose in the first quarter.
That was an impressing text, by the way.
I was like, they're going to lose. There's no way they're going to win. They're getting destroyed. They can't stop the run.
They can't block.
Trent Edwards keeps dumping off.
He's running
and they're getting tackled 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
The secondary looks horrible. Did we even get a sack all game?
Yeah, actually, we had a lot of sacks. Aaron Schobel did pretty well. That was about the only thing they did well was get pressure, but
you must have not been watching it that game.
Yeah.
They did not blitz
because it wasn't a good game to watch. So after a while, it was just like, okay, we're sitting here enjoying the weather, and let's start the countdown of when we're going to go back into the heat of the parking lot. Because we sat on the Dolphin side where it was shaded. But after a while, it was like, okay, we can stay in the heat.
It was just terrible to watch that game. And it shows that, 1, Dick Jauron did not prepare for the game as well as he needed to.
No, definitely.
2, he didn't get his guys up for it either. And if you're not going to get your...
Did he get to them, bro? No?
Yeah, wasn't that hot?
Well,
it was probably 90.
Wow.
All right.
Easily.
That's big from Buffalo.
That's a big difference, but you know what? They were supposedly preparing for that by throwing on extra layers throughout practice the week before the game. You have to be ready for that. And really what Dick Jauron maybe should have had was a bunch of space heaters going throughout the field house.
I mean,
cranked up the heat.
They're not prepared. They're not like hyped up enough for these games.
I mean,
it's not what a good coach
Here's
is.
one thing that killed me, a quote that killed me. Jonathan Scott was saying that he let his technique relax in the fourth quarter. Well, we're getting our butts kicked left and right, and you're going to relax? That's not a coach
Justin,
motivating.
you were even, I know what you're saying, but that you said in the third quarter that they were done.
Oh, they were, but you know what? You can't admit that to the media.
And
that
then when
you're
you
giving up.
relax, that's when you get hurt.
Oh yeah, that's when you get hurt. That's when.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to
things get
start
worse.
putting in your second string, you know what I mean? Don't keep trying out.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, our second string is in already.
No, they didn't put him in.
No, I know they didn't. That's what I'm saying. They should have.
Yeah,
if they're going to give up. If they're going to officially give up, say, okay, we're down by 30, we're not
Yeah, they didn't even think about that.
Our second string, for all intents and purposes, was in. I mean, you look at who we have playing on the field.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's our second string guys, with the exception of Trent, Lee, and TL. They're on the field. There isn't really another first stringer on there besides, well, if you want to call Fred Jackson a first stringer. I think he is now over Marshawn Lynch, the way Lynch played.
Oh, I don't know about that. But
I don't know. Lynch sucks.
it was his
on
first
Sunday.
game back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was
still gotta
supposed to be
utilize
keeping
him
in
in
shape.
I don't think he's bad.
He should have been
I
keeping
don't
himself in shape.
I
He was
just think
awful in the run game.
we just played terrible, and that was the reason. And hopefully he'll be back next week, beast mode, ready. All right,
Well,
and then
I mean, well, the question is more so, I know we're going to be talking about this during the Browns pregame show, but like, what do we do with Lynch? I mean, do we start him? Do we bring him in on third? I mean, do we just use him in the red zone? I mean, the problem is now since Fred Jackson's looking so good, how do we use him? You know what I mean? I don't know, just a thought.
I think if he starts playing better, we just put Marshawn Lynch back in as a starter.
I think they just kind of depended on him. Even though he played bad, they were kind of like, oh, we're going to let him play through it. No, he's playing bad.
Well, that's a Dick Jauron thing there.
We need to sit him down and let Fred Jackson come in because he was playing bad.
Dick Jauron is notorious for keeping players in when they shouldn't be on the field. Look at last year against Miami. Terrence McGee was on one leg and 10 tore us apart. You got to know when to pull your players. That's another thing with coaching. Get the guy that's going to do the job in. If you got somebody who can't do it physically or mentally or whatever, get them out. And that's just what it comes down to. There's no pulling punches as an NFL head coach. You have to get the right guy on the field. Otherwise, it's your job.
Yeah, this is a business.
Well, that's the problem. It's like, what's wrong with the guys that we have, you know what I mean? And that's when you look at our talent. I mean, I know we're banged up a little bit on D, but if you really...
up all the way, you can
only
see
see
him
him on...
why, and I also want to bring up the point, why do we keep having our players get injured?
Yeah,
that's coaching also.
This was the first week we
Strength and
didn't
conditioning.
have any major injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that was about the only positive out of the game.
Yeah, no, really. And it's just, we need better coaching to be better. I mean, if you want to get better players, that's one thing, but you need better coaching to get better players and to coach those players to get better. And we just don't have it.
I mean, to make a parallel, Oakland A's started off with like no talent, but they built up a system where they built up what they had. And they ended up with quite a few good years because they kept building up the talent
And
they had.
it's the same thing with the Sabres, and I hate to use hockey reference, but we have a good coach, and therefore our team has been like decent. I mean, we haven't been like last in the Eastern Conference, but we've been decent
with some championship runs over the past
15
15
even
years.
when we were the last 2 years when we haven't made the playoffs, we've still been, I mean, kind of decent. We haven't been terrible.
But you know, I
The
mean,
closest
either way we look at it, the Bills are just not doing pretty good. They're looking bad, and they got to fix themselves.
Yeah, I agree. All right, thank you for joining us for this rant. Look for our link for the Browns pregame show. All right, thank you.